All right. We say Shabbat Shalom to the whole Ba'if of Yasha'al, to all 12 tribes, to the elder Ak, Yahudah, to the younger Ak, Ephraim, to the former stranger, to the former foreigner, to the former Gentile, who, having been engrafted into the house, the Ba'if of Yasha'al through the branch, who is Yahusha HaMashiach, by the immersion of his Ruach HaKadosh, whereby now receiving the adoption of sons and daughters, and having received the adoption of sons and daughters, and having been engrafted into the Ba'if, which is to say the house of Yasha'al, you are no longer a stranger, or foreigner, or Gentile, but you are now wild branches on the olive tree. You are now fellow citizens of the house of Yasha'al, and fellow partakers of the very same everlasting covenant that was given to Yasha'al and to Yasha'al alone. Shabbat Shalom to you wherever your feet are touching the soil on this Yom, to all 12 tribes, wherever your feet are touching the soil on this Yom. Peace and blessings to you and to your households, that is to say, Shalom and Barakut to you and your households wherever your feet are touching the soil. Barak Yahuwah. We're grateful once more that you who are scattered to the four corners of the earth, the four corners of the Arats, you of the household of Yasha'al, both to the native born and to the stranger, we're grateful that you are once again joining us on this most Kadush Yom, and I emphasized this most Kadush Yom, this Shabbat Yom. It is beyond a shadow of a doubt his Shabbat Yom. Indeed, 1 through 7 has never changed. It does not vary according to the cycle of the moon. It has never changed. It is not on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. It is not on Sunday. I know these are pagan names, but bear with me. For all you self-righteous ones, I do not worship these pagan deities in which these days are named after. Indeed, the Shabbat Yom has never changed. It is on the day that man has called Saturday. It is in fact on the day that man has called Saturday. Why am I so confident? Because Yahuwah told me so. He told me that this is his day to rest in him. So this is his day, Barak Yahuwah, this on this most Kadush Yom. And his name is Yahuwah. And we're grateful for all of you who are joining us all over the earth. We are here to esteem the name of Yahuwah. Let the name of Yahuwah be esteemed in all the earth. Let all mankind come to know the name of Yahuwah and come to reverence his great name and bow before his feet. Indeed, his name is Yahuwah. Why am I so confident? Because he told me so. On more than one occasion, he has told me his name is Yahuwah, and do not call him by any other name. Indeed, his name is not Yahweh. His name is not Yahweh. His name is not Yehovah or Yehovah. His name is not Jehovah. His name is not God or Lord. His name is not Most High. His name is Yahuwah. His name is Yahuwah, Al Shaddai. And I stop by to esteem his name. I esteem his name to the four corners of the Arats. To whomever have eyes to see and ears to hear. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. So to you who are on YouTube, who will watch this teaching later on, once again we welcome you to our gathering on this most Kadush Yom. Shalom and Barakut to you and your house, which is to say peace and blessings to you and your house. We pray that the very shalom, the fullness of the shalom of Yahuwah would manifest in your house, on your household, on both you and your families on this most Kadush Yom. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. And so, Ms. Parker, we are here again to you on YouTube. We're here again searching for the ancient path, and this will be part 27. If you're taking notes, this is Searching for the Ancient Path, part 27. And we're continuing in the vein of two manner of people. Two manner of people. Searching for the Ancient Path, part 27. Two manner of people. Two manner of people. Earlier, before the video started, for you who are on YouTube, I shared with the Mashpaka that Yahuwah has placed an urgency in his servant with respect to this ancient path, because this very path, this very precious ancient path, it is imperative that we walk this path in this season. Because if we adhere to this path, if we adhere to what is prescribed in accordance with the Torah, and we walk this path in Ruach and in truth, then this very path will lead us to Mount Zion, where we will be given a song in which no one else can sing. Indeed, this is a muadah, which is to say an appointed time. For those who have a sensitivity to the voice of the Ruach, and who have a sensitivity to times and seasons, as it is spoken of Issachar, you will understand that this is a muadah. This is a time unlike any other time in our existence. This is like a time unlike we will ever see again, in which a great separation is taking place. A distinction is taking place right before our eyes. This is the season in which we read about in Revelation chapter 7, in which the messenger declares to not harm the ocean or the seas or the rivers or the trees or the grass of the earth until what? Until you have sealed the people of Yahuwah upon their foreheads. The number of that people, as he declared, was 144,000. This is that season. This is that muadah in which he is sealing his people and separating his people and making that distinction between who are his and who are not. Indeed, in walking this ancient path, he has began to teach us. He is showing us that we do not have to guess. He is taking the guesswork out of this in terms of determining the fruit and in terms of determining who are his and who are not. Indeed, he has shown us that either we are one manner of folk or another manner of folk. Excuse my vernacular, I'm from the South. So either you are one manner of folk or another manner of folk. Either, in other words, either you are born from above or you are born from below. Either you are the good seed, which is the seed of Yahuwah, or you are the wicked seed, which is the seed of the wicked one. There is no in between. There is no in between. And if we are indeed born from above and are indeed walking this ancient path in Ruach and in truth, then there are to be some manifestations, the manifestation of some fruit. Our very nature and character are to resemble that of our Father Yahuwah. His nature and his character is perfect. He is perfect. And so as he is perfect, we are to be perfect. As he is Kadosh, we are to be Kadosh. And so in walking this ancient path, he has shown us through the examples of our ancient fathers, he has allowed us to look through the lens of the example of our ancient fathers, and then comparing their behavior, their walk to ours, because their walk was perfect. They were perfect. Indeed, as we have been walking this ancient path, inclusive of last week, he has shown us that from the very beginning, the sons of the rain, those who call themselves or who are called the sons of the rain, are perfect. They are perfect. But those who are the sons of the wicked one are imperfect. Indeed, either we are perfect or imperfect. There is no in between. Either we are born from above or born from below. Either we are righteous or unrighteous. Either we are sheep or goats. Either we are wheat or tares. Either we are Jacob or Yaakov, or we are Ashu, or commonly called Esau. There is no in between. There is no in between. But Abba, in his compassion, he has us searching for the ancient path, in looking at not only the example of our righteous ancestors, of our righteous fathers, who are all firstborn sons, beginning with Adam. And indeed, in the law of inheritance, only firstborn sons inherit. We understand that Yahuwah, he is not flesh and blood, and his sons and daughters cannot be born of flesh and blood. His sons and daughters must be born of Ruach. And by being born of Ruach, this is how we obtain the distinction of being called firstborn sons. Indeed, only the firstborn son inherits the possessions of his father. We understand that what? Flesh and blood cannot inherit the reign of Elohim. So only those who are born of Ruach, who are born of water and of Ruach, are going to enter into the reign. And only those who are born of water and of Ruach, and by being born of water and of Ruach, having the very nature and character of our Father, which is perfect, are going to be saved from the hour of trial, which many call the great tribulation, which is soon to come upon this earth. Which is soon to come upon this earth. So it is imperative. It is imperative that we come back and we turn to the ancient path, which is the way of perfection. Which is the way of perfection, because the ancient path is Torah. Indeed, that Torah is perfect. That Torah is perfect. The ancient path is Torah. The ancient path is the Ancient of Days. The ancient path is Yahuwah. To walk the ancient path is to what? Is to be in him, in us. To walk in him, in us. To walk the ancient path is to what? Is to be his scepter. Is to be his rod, in which he uses to what? To walk to and fro upon this earth. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because our Father is righteous, and he will not go where he does not have a legal right to be. You see, we are his foothold in this earth. We are those who give him a right to operate in this earth. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Him and us and him. And so, as his rod, as his Shabbat, walking along this ancient path, walking in him, walking along the path which is in him, then we become his rod. We become his Shabbat, in which he uses to walk to and fro across this earth. Indeed. And if we are his rod, if we are his Shabbat, we are that very same rod, that very same Shabbat, which is an instrument of war, which is an instrument of correction, and which is an instrument and which he is going to even use to strike the head of the serpent. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And so we continue searching for this ancient path. We continue walking this path of perfection, searching for perfection with all of our heart, with all of our mind, and with all of our strength, so that we then in turn become what? Visible images of the invisible Elohim. Or did you think that distinction was only for Yahusha? Yahusha is Yahuwah. Yahusha is Yahuwah. Yahusha came to show us, you and I, how to be what? Visible images of the invisible Elohim. He came to show us how to be perfect. And so that those who confess him and those who believe in him are to also walk even as he walked. And so last week we ended, I believe, in chapter 7 of the Forgotten Books of Adam and Kua, chapter 2. And Yahuwah has brought us back there to show us that from the very beginning, there has only been two manner of people. Either you're a seed of the wicked one or you're a seed of Yahuwah. Either you are descended from Cain or you are descended from Habal, and by extension, self, or more accurately called Shah. There's only two manner of people, and this is still being played out today. This is still being played out today in true Yasha'al, and those who are the seed of Adum or Ashu, who are called Adumi, are more commonly called Edomites. There are only two manner of people. There are only two manner of people. We're going to either fall in one or two categories. There is no in between. We're going to fall in one or two categories. Either we are perfect or we are imperfect. That's it. There is no in between. That takes out all the guesswork. That takes out all the guesswork. So when you're looking around trying to determine who is Yasha'al and who isn't, either they are born from above or they are born from below. There is no in between. There is no in between. And those who are born from below, they have certain characteristics, just as those who are born from above have certain characteristics. And that characteristic is having the very nature and character of Yahuwah himself. Right. And so this week, Barak Yahuwah, we're going to start in chapter 8 of the Forgotten Books of Adam and Kua. Again, Abba won't let me speak about anything else. This may be boring to some. It may not be deep enough for some. It may not be intellectual enough for some. But for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, these are words of life that will save your very life if you adhere to them. And if you adhere to them, and if you adhere to the words that are being spoken through the mouth of his servant, you will wear white on Mount Zion, and you will sing a song that no one else can sing. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. So to those who have access to the Forgotten Books of Eden, if you have the PDF or if you have the paperback copy, I believe the author of that paperback copy, his last name is Rutherford. I don't remember his first name. If you have that, you can also find it. Some have it via the Sefer. In the Sefer, it's enclosed in a book entitled Bereshith. In Bereshith, you will find it's entitled It's entitled the first and second book of Adam and Kua, and in there he replaces the name God and Lord with Yahuwah and with Elohim, and he replaces the name Eve with her accurate Hebrew or Abarit name, which is Kua. And so here we're now starting over. We're continuing in the second book of Adam and Kua, and we're going to begin reading at chapter 8. Chapter 8, and looking at the righteous examples of our fathers who were perfect. And if we profess to be related to them, then we too must be perfect. And not only looking at their example, but also looking at the example of those who were from below, and making the determination and bringing home the point that there are only two manner of people. There are only two manner of people, and it began in the very beginning. So if you have that, we're going to begin at verse 1 in the second book of Adam and Kua. Verse 1 in the second book of Adam and Kua.
Chapter 8.
Barak Yahuwah.
When our father Adam saw that his end was near, he called his son Shaph.
Actually, we've read chapter 8. We stopped at chapter 8 last week. If I just jog my memory as you began to read. Okay. Begin reading at verse in chapter 9. I believe we left off at chapter 10, but I'll know as you begin reading in chapter 9.
Okay.
Elder,
Yes.
I believe it's chapter 12.
We stopped at chapter. So chapter 12 is where we need to begin.
Yes, chapter 12.
Okay, Barak Yahuwah.
Okay. Okay. Should I wait?
All right, beginning at chapter 12, verse 1, we read.
Then Shaph the just called his son
Wait,
Enos.
whoa, hold up. Then Shaph the just.
Oh.
Then Shaph the just. This means what? Shaph the righteous. This means Shaph the righteous. They were all righteous. They were all pure. They were all perfect. And this is indeed the beginnings of the sons of the rain. These are the sons of the rain. How do we know? Because when we read the genealogy of Yahusha, it came all the way back through these righteous fathers to Adam. And when we arrived at Adam, it said of Adam, then of Elohim. Adam being born of Elohim. Adam being a son of the rain. Adam being a son of Elohim. And so if we are connected to them, if we claim fellowship with them, Barak Yahuwah, then we have to be born in like manner. We have to be born of Elohim. And if we are born of Elohim, who owns everything, then as firstborn sons of Elohim, we will inherit his possessions. Barak Yahuwah. So Shaph the just, he was righteous. He was perfect. He was pure. Read on.
Called his son Enos, and Caian, son of Enos, and Mahalalel, son of Caian, and said unto them, as my end is near, I wish to build a roof over the altar on which gifts are offered. They hearkened to his commandment and went out, all of them, both old and young, and worked hard at it and built a beautiful roof over the altar.
They hearkened at his commandment. They hearkened to his voice. This is another testament of a characteristic of sons of the rain. They're what? They're submissive. They are obedient. They are not hard-hearted or stiff-necked. They are submissive and obedient to authority. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Because how can you say that you submit to Yahuwah and you submit to his authority when you won't submit to the authority of those he has placed in charge on the earth? You are a liar, and the truth is not in you. Those sons of the rain submit to authority. This is what it means to submit. This is what it means to obey. To obey, you must submit. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And so here they hearken to his voice and they obey. These are sons of the rain. Read.
And Shaph's thought in doing so was that a blessing should come upon his children on the mountain, and that he should present an offering for them before his death. Then when the building of the roof was completed, he commanded them to make offerings. They worked diligently at these and brought them to Shaph their father, who took them and offered them up upon the altar and prayed to Elohim to accept their offering, to have compassion on the souls of his children and to keep them from the hand of Hashatan. And Elohim accepted his offering and sent his blessing upon him and upon his children. And then Elohim made a promise to Shaph, saying, at the end of the great 5 days and a half, concerning which I have made a promise to thee and to thy father, I will send my word and save thee and thy seed. Then Shaph and his children and his children's children met together and came down from the altar and went to the cave of treasures, where they prayed and blessed themselves in the body of our father Adam.
Understand this. When Yahuwah speaks a word, that word has no choice but to manifest. That word has no choice than to take place. Whatever he speaks must happen. Now this 5,300 years has already happened at the death of the Hamashiach. But there is another promise to some in Revelation chapter 3, that if we continue to keep his word of endurance, that what? That he is going to keep us from the hour of trial. This has been spoken. So if we do what is required of us, then this word must take place. This word must happen. It has no choice. It has no choice. Whatever Yahuwah has spoken must happen. It must happen. It has no choice but to happen. Barak Yahuwah, read.
and anointed themselves with it. But Shaph abode in the cave of treasures a few days, and then suffered sufferings unto death. Then Enos, his firstborn son, came to him with Caian, his son, and Mahalalel, Caian's son, and Jared.
Barak Yahuwah. This is all about firstborn sons. This is only all about firstborn sons. We understand that what? In accordance with the Torah, that Yahuwah only what? Only redeems firstborn sons. He will only redeem firstborn sons. And so we see this example beginning with Adam, down through Shaph, and down through Kanush. These are all firstborn sons. These are all sons of the rain, having been what? Having been born of Elohim in the same way that their father Adam was born of Elohim. This is a true firstborn son. We are not firstborn sons by the flesh. Indeed, Paul tells us that not all who say they're Yasha'al are Yasha'al. We are not Yasha'al according to the flesh alone. Yahuwah is not flesh and blood. In order to be a son of the rain and enter into the inheritance, we must be born from above. And if we are born from above, then we will exhibit these very same characteristics that they exhibited, and we will exhibit the very same characteristics that Yahusha exhibited, and we will exhibit the very same character and nature that Yahuwah himself exhibits. Barak Yahuwah, read.
The son of Mahalalel and Canuk, Jared's son, with their wives and children, to receive a blessing from Shaph. Then Shaph prayed over them and blessed them, and adjured them by the blood of Habal the just, saying, I beg of you, my children, not to let one of you go down from this Kadush and pure mountain. Make no fellowship with the children of Cain, the murderer.
Do not go down from this just and pure mountain, this perfect mountain. Abba's already told you. Either you're born from above or you're born from below. If you are born from above, what does that mean? That means you've been reborn to perfection. Because there is no unrighteousness in Shamayim. There is no darkness in Shamayim. There is no imperfection in Shamayim. And so we have now, if you in fact have been born from above, we have got to walk as citizens of above and not as citizens of below. Because if we walk as citizens of above, we will live. But if we walk as citizens of below, we're going to die. And so Shaph here implores them to stay on this pure and righteous mountain. Stay here as citizens of above and never go down. He made them promise or swear to never go down from that mountain, never go down to the children of Cain. Because the moment you go down and you mix and you mingle with the children of Cain, you see, this is not new to Torah when Yahuwah gave the command through Moshe saying, do not intermingle with them, do not marry with them, do not give your sons to their daughters or your daughters to their sons. Do not do that. Lest they turn your heart away from me and you worship what is, and you begin to worship what is not Elohim. This didn't begin there. This began in the very beginning. This began in the very beginning. And the danger is this, as we're going to continue reading. If you are from above, if you have been born from above, if you then, in having been born from above and whereby having tasted the good things of Shamayim and have seen the things to come, if you then leave that place and turn and go down to the sons of Cain, as we're going to read, there is no returning of repentance for you. We can never return to the mountain. We can never return to the mountain. Therefore, it is imperative, it is very important that we recognize who is from above and who is from below. It is important that we make that distinction. It is important that we make that distinction, lest we be drawn from the mountain and go down below, whereby there is no return to the mountain. Yahuwah has made it very clear for us. He's made it very simple for us in these last times, and showing us that there are only two manner of people. Either you're born from above or you're born from below. There is no in between. There is no in between. Read, little one.
Make no fellowship with the children of Cain the
Make
murderer.
no fellowship with the children of Cain the murderer. In other words, Paul puts it this way again. Wherefore come out from among them, be ye separate, touch not the unclean thing, and Yahuwah will receive us. Read.
And the sinner who called his brother, for ye know, O my children, that we flee from him and from all his crimes with all our might, because he killed his brother Habal. After having said this, Shaph blessed Enos, his firstborn son, and commanded him habitually to minister in purity before the body of our father Adam.
To minister in purity and perfection. Read.
All the days of his life. Then also to go at times to the altar which he, Shaph, had built, and he commanded him to feed his people in righteousness.
To feed his people in righteousness. To feed his people in righteousness. Somebody get me, I believe it's Malachi chapter 3. Somebody get me Malachi chapter 3. I believe it's Malachi chapter 3.
I have it at.
You have it. Go down, I believe it's chapter 3, where it says, the lips of a priest shall guard righteousness, I believe. If it's not chapter 3, it's going to be in chapter 2.
Yeah, that's 2:7.
Okay, begin there.
It says, for the lips of a Kohan should guard knowledge and seek the Torah from his mouth. For he messenger of Yahuwah of hosts.
Because he's a messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. This is what you're seeing here in the very beginning is a priesthood. What you're seeing is a priesthood, and you're seeing priests standing up over the people. Not in the order of Levi, but in the order of Melchizedek, who is Yahuwah himself. And so this is another characteristic of those walking the ancient path. If you were truly walking the ancient path, then you are a priest. You are a Kahan in the order of Melchizedek. And as a Kahan in the order of Melchizedek, there cannot be no falsehood on your lips. Only the Torah. Indeed, to the Torah and the testimony. If they speak not according to this word, there is no what? No light in them. So this is another characteristic to those walking the ancient path in purity and truth, and ruach and in truth. If you are truly walking the ancient path, that means that you have been born from above. And if you have been born from above, then you have been born from the loins of a Kahan, of a priest. You've been born from the loins of Melchizedek himself. And that means that you conduct yourself as a Kahan. As a Kahan. You have no excuse not to conduct yourself as a Kahan if you profess to have been born from above. You have no excuse. If you're not walking as a Kahan in the order of Melchizedek, having no falsehood coming from your lips, speaking the Torah, teaching the people the Torah, teaching the people to operate in righteousness and in truth without compromise. A Kahan does not compromise. A Kahan will pull out his sword and slaughter son and daughter, sister or brother, mother or father. He will give up everything because he has no inheritance in this world. He has no possession in this world. Yahuwah is his inheritance. Yahuwah is his possession. Indeed, you will find no falsehood in the mouth of a Kahan. Yahuwah is his all. And his only desire is to serve him and to do his will. And so if you are a male and walk in this ancient path and profess to have been born from above, then you are to be walking as a Kohan, having no falsehood coming from your mouth. If it's not in the Torah, it should not be coming from your lips. If it's not righteousness, it should not be coming from your lips. If it's not right ruling, it should not be coming from your lips. And not only should it be coming from your lips, but it should be recognized in your fruit. It should be recognized in your walk. Indeed, it is not the hearers of Torah who are declared righteous, but the doers of it. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. So this priesthood began here. It began here with these righteous men in the order of Melchizedek, doing righteousness and teaching righteousness, having no falsehood coming from their lips, being perfect as their Father in Shamayim is perfect. Read.
And he commanded him to feed his people in righteousness, in judgment and purity all the days of his life.
Thank you, Abba. Feed them what?
Righteousness, in judgment and purity all the days of his life.
Somebody get me John chapter 20. I don't want to make this too long. Barak Yahuwah. Somebody get me John chapter 20. Come on. Please, somebody get me Yahuchanan chapter 20. And read loud enough for our YouTube family to hear.
Starting at verse 1.
At verse 1, read.
And on day 1 of the week, Mariam,
My bad.
Magdala.
Not bad. No, go to chapter 21. I'm sorry. Chapter 21.
Yes, sir.
Begin at verse 1.
After this, Yahusha manifested himself again to the top ones at the Sea of Canaan. And he manifested this way. Shimon, Kapha, and Tomah, called the twin, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, the sons of Zabdi, and 2 others of his top ones were together. Shimon Kapha said to them, I am going to fish. They said to him, we are also coming with you. They went out and immediately entered into the boat, and that night they caught none at all. But when it became early morning, Yahusha stood on the beach. However, the top ones did not know that it was Yahusha. And Yahusha said to them, children, have you any food? They answered him, no. And he said to them, throw the net on the right side of the boat, and you shall find. So they threw, and they were no longer able to draw it in because of the large number of fish. The top one whom Yahusha loved then said to Kapha, it is the master. Then Shimon Kapha, hearing that it was the master, put on his outer garment, for he was stripped, and plunged into the sea. And the other top ones came in the little boat, for they were not far from land, but about 200 cubits, dragging the net with fish. So when they had come to land, they saw a fire of coals there, and fish laid on it, and bread. Yahusha said to them, bring some of the fish which you have now caught. Shimon Kapha went up and dragged the net to land, filled with 153 big fishes. And though there were so many, the net was not broken. Yahusha said to them, come, have breakfast. And not one of his top ones had the courage to ask him, who are you? Knowing that it was the master. Yahusha came and took the bread and gave it to them, and the same with the fish. This was now the 3rd time Yahusha was manifested to his top ones after he was raised from the dead. When therefore they had eaten breakfast, Yahusha said to Shimon Kapha, Shimon, son of Yonah, do you love me more than these? He said to them, yes, master. You know that I love you. He said to him, feed my lamb.
Barak Yahuwah, come on.
He said to him again, the 2nd time, Shimon, son of Yonah, do you love me? He said to him, yes, master. You know that I love you. He said to him, shepherd my sheep. He said to him the 3rd time, Shimon, son of Yunah, do you love me? Kaffa was sad because he said to him the third time, do you love me? And he said to him, Master, you know all. You know that I love you. Yahusha said to him, feed my sheep.
Feed my sheep. Feed my sheep. Do you understand that Yahusha was talking to a Kahan? Yes, he was. Yes, he was. This is the same Kahan, Kaffa, commonly called Peter, who said that what? That we are royal priesthood. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So to be a priest is to guard knowledge, is to guard the Torah, is to feed the sheep the words of life, the bread of life, the lakam shamayim, which is the Torah, and having no falsehood being found on their lips. No falsehood, without compromise, without operating in emotion, without operating in the flesh. Come on, somebody. You can't be a Kahan and operate in your flesh. What do you think the anointing oil represented over the priest of Levi? That scent that they could not and still cannot duplicate, because it is the very scent and odor of Yahuwah himself. That very anointing being what? Being the seal of their office. Wasn't merely oil. That oil represented the Ruach HaKodesh. Every priest who operated in righteousness had the Ruach HaKodesh upon him. This is the seal of our office. Having a Ruach HaKodesh. This is the seal of our office. This is the seal of our office. And so we are to guard truth. We are to guard righteousness. We are to have no falsehood proceeding from our lips. Only the Torah. We are to feed his sheep the words of life, the bread of life, the Torah, the lakam shamayim, the bread from shamayim. We are to lead them to righteousness. We are to lead them to an encounter with the Ruach HaKodesh. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Come on, read, little one.
Then the limbs of Shaph were loosened. His hands and feet lost all power. His mouth became dumb and unable to speak. And he gave up the rook and died the day after his 912th year, on the 27th day of the month of Abib, Canuk being then 20 years old. Then they wound up carefully the body of Shaph and embalmed him with sweet spices, and laid him in the cave of treasures on the right side of our father Adam's body. And they mourned for him 40 days. They offered gifts for him, as they had done for our father Adam. After the death of Shaph, Enos rose at the head of his people, whom he fed in righteousness and judgment.
Who he fed in what?
Righteousness and judgment.
In righteousness and judgment. I told you they were righteous. I told you they were perfect. These are sons of the rain. All of the sons of the rain are righteous and perfect. Yes, they are. And all the sons of the rain are priests. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. If you are a son of the rain, you are. If you've been born from above, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Read, little one.
As his father commanded him. But by the time Enos was 820 years old, Cain had a large progeny, for they married frequently, being given to animal lust.
Being given to animal lust. So now here is a clue to the sons of Cain. What is that? They give in to their animal lust. I don't care what kind of lust it is. The sons of Cain give in to their animal lust. Whether it is physical lust with a male or a female, whether it is masturbation, whether it is pornography, whether it is drugs or alcohol or whatever lust it may be, the sons of Cain give in to their lust. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. But the sons of the rain are disciplined. We are disciplined. We seek righteousness. We seek truth without compromise. Having been born from above and having the very nature and character of our Father. Indeed, we use self-restraint, self-control, which is what? The fruit of the Ruach. Which is the fruit of the Ruach. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But here, the opposite, they're always the opposite of the sons of the rain are the sons of Cain. And they could not control, they had no self-control a self-restraint. They could not control their animalistic lust. Read, little one.
Until the land below the mountain was filled with them. And that's the end.
Barak Yahuwah. That was chapter 12?
Yes.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Chapter 13. Let's continue this journey. Chapter 13. Forgot the books of Adam and Kua. Chapter 2. Read, little one.
In those days lived Lamech the blind, who was of the sons of Cain. He had a son whose name was Atun, and they two had much cattle. But Lamech was in the habit of sending them to feed with a young shepherd who tended them, and who, when coming home in the evening, wept before his grandfather, and before his father Atun, and his mother Hazina, and said to them, As for me, I cannot feed those cattle alone, lest one rob me of some of them, or kill me for the sake of them. For among the children of Cain there was much robbery, murder, and sin.
There was much robbery, murder, and crime amongst the children of Cain. See, we learned this, that there's a witness to this, and where? In 1 John chapter 3, when it talks about Cain, when it talks about loving the brother, not as Cain did. You see, the children of Cain, they what? They operate in willful crime. They operate in willful sin. And they declare that, well, Abba knows my heart. They declare that I'm a work in progress. But Abba is teaching us in these last days that no, he ain't taking no excuses. Either you're perfect or you're imperfect. There is no in between. Either you're descended from Shaph or you're descended from Cain. Either you're a sheep or a goat, a wheat or a tare. Either you're Jacob or Esau. There is no in between. And so the children of Cain, they operate in willful crime. They like to make excuses. I'm a work in progress. I'm a work in progress. He knows my heart. These are the children of Cain, but the sons of the rain, they make no such excuses. They simply do. They simply operate in righteousness without compromise. Oh, he's taken away all excuses. He's taken away all excuses, and he laid it out on board. He's laid it out on the board, and he's drawn a line right down the middle of that board. Up top, you have the sons of the rain. And down at the bottom, you have the sons of the wicked one. There is no in between. There is no in between. Read, little one.
Then Lamech pitied him and said, Truly he, when alone, might be overpowered by the men of this place. So Lamech arose, took a bow he had kept ever since he was a youth, he became blind, and he took large arrows and smooth stones and a sling which he had, and went to the field with the young shepherd, and placed himself behind the cattle, while the young shepherd watched the cattle. Thus did Lamech many days. Meanwhile Cain, ever since Elohim had cast him off, and had cursed him with trembling and terror, could neither settle nor find rest in any place, but wandered from place to place. In his wanderings he came to Lamech's wives.
There's another characteristic of the sons of Cain. They have no shalom. They have no shalom. Shalom is from Yahuwah. Hashatan, who is Pharaoh, who is Parah, his what? Is a harsh taskmaster. Yes, he is. We are a servant to whomever we obey. If you obey Hashatan, who is Pharaoh, who is the ruler of Egypt, and we know the Arats, the earth, is Egypt, he is a harsh taskmaster. There is no shalom. There is no rest. Shalom meaning rest. There is no rest. Rest comes from Yahuwah. It comes from Yahuwah. And so if you're constantly operating from a place of fear and anxiety, that's not Yahuwah. That's not Yahuwah. We see a spread of fear and anxiety in this season. And it's because of this wicked system. We see a rise in antidepressants and anxiety medications. We see a rise of this because of the atmosphere that has been created to make it conducive to taking these medications. The pressure people have on their jobs of making it and making ends meet. They have families to support, and there's pressure from their Jezebel feminist wives, wanting what everybody else has, wanting the big house and wanting 2 Mercedes-Benz and the Benzes in the driveway, and wanting at least 5 bedrooms with 3 baths, and they find themselves killing themselves in these job environments, trying to give these Jezebel wives what they want. And oftentimes, even giving them what they want, these Jezebel women will still leave them and take what they worked so hard to get. And so in working in these environments, trying to keep up and trying to earn a certain living, they develop anxiety and they develop depression. And this is all of Hashatan. This is all of Hashatan. And then they look to the magicians of Egypt, the pharmakia. They look to the magicians of Egypt for their antidepressant medications and their sleeping pills and their medications for anxiety. They have no shalom. There is no shalom in Egypt. Pharaoh is a harsh taskmaster. Yes, he is. He is a harsh taskmaster. The only shalom is in Yahuwah. And this is another characteristic of a son of the rain. No matter what is going on around him, there is shalom. There is shalom. But you know what? The sons of the wicked one, they're always trying to disturb your shalom. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They're always trying to introduce anxiety and fear in your life. Yes, they are. They call you up. They call you up. Even those who say they're Yashral, they call you up. And you begin to talk to them. And as you begin to talk to them, they begin to share what's going on with them. And you can, if you have any discernment, you can feel the anxiety rising up in them. And that anxiety trying to come through the phone and jump on you. Yes, it is. It's a spirit. It's a ruach. It's a ruach. And it is rampant on the earth. It is rampant on the earth. This very thing happens to us all the time. We can feel when this anxiety is trying to come through, when this ruach is trying to come through and jump on us and disturb our shalom. But we understand who we are. And in the power and the authority that Abba has given us, we send it back from whence it came. But there is no shalom in Egypt. There is no shalom amongst the sons of Cain. But there should be shalom amongst the sons of the rain. Read, little one.
In his wandering, he came to Lamach's wives and asked them about him. They said to him, he is in the field with the cattle. Then Cain went to look for him. And as he came into the field, the young shepherd heard the noise he made, and the cattle herding together from before him. Then said he to Lamach, O my master, is that a wild beast or a robber? And Lamach said to him, make me understand which way he looks when he comes up. Then Lamach bent his bow, placed an arrow on it, and fitted a stone in the sling. And when Cain came out from the open country, the shepherd said to Lamach, shoot, behold, he is coming. Then Lamach shot at Cain with his arrow and hit him in his side. And Lamach struck him with the stone from his sling that fell upon his face and knocked out both his eyes. Then Cain fell at once and died. Then Lamach and the young shepherd came up to him and found him lying on the ground. And the young shepherd said to him, it is Cain, our grandfather, whom thou hast killed, O my master. Then was Lamach sorry for it, and from the bitterness of his regret, he clapped his hands together and struck with his flat palm the head of the youth, who fell as if dead. But Lamach thought it was a feint, so he took up a stone and smote him and smashed his head until he died. And that's the end of that one.
Barak Yahuwah, that was chapter 13 or 12?
13.
13. Barak Yahuwah, chapter 14. Chapter 14. How are we looking for time, little one?
Let's see. 53 minutes.
Barak Yahuwah, chapter 14. Forgotten Books of Adam and Kua, chapter 2. Beginning at verse 1. Read, little one.
Time, like an ever-rolling stream, bears away another generation of men. When Enos was 900 years old, all the children of Shaph and of Cain and his firstborn with their wives and children gathered around him, asking for a blessing from him. He then prayed over them and blessed them and adjured them by the blood of Habal, the just saying to them, let not one of your children go down. Didn't I just read this? From the Kadush mountain, and let them make no fellowship with the children of Cain the murderer.
Wherefore come out from among them, be ye separate. Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Mix not with the heathen, Do not give your sons to their daughters, and your daughters to their sons. Do not mix with them. This is not new. This is from the very beginning. This is that distinction and that separation between the sons of the rain and the sons of the wicked one. Those who are born from above and those who are born from below. Read, little one.
Then Enosh called his son Cain and said to him, See, O my son, and set thy heart on the people, and establish them in righteousness.
And establish them in righteousness. What is righteousness, Ms. Parker? Come on, give it to me.
Torah.
What is righteousness, Ms. Parker? I hear Torah. I hear Torah. I hear Torah. I hear Torah. But more specifically, righteousness is obedience to Torah. Righteousness is obedience to Torah. Yes, Torah is righteous. Torah is righteousness. But we become righteous when we obey Torah. So righteousness, more accurately, is obedience to Torah. And so this is what's being taught here. They're teaching Torah. They are teaching Torah. As priests, they are teaching righteousness. They are teaching Torah. No unrighteousness is proceeding from their lips. Barak Yahuwah. Read, little one.
And establish them in righteousness and in innocence.
And in innocence. In other words, in purity, in perfection. Establish them in righteousness, in purity, and perfection. Because we must be perfect. Barak Yahuwah. Read.
And stand ministering before the body of our father Adam all the days of thy life. After this, Enos entered into rest, aged 985 years, and Cain wound him up and laid him in the cave of treasures on the left of his father Adam, and made offerings for him after the custom of his fathers. That's it.
Barak Yahuwah. All of our righteous fathers were perfect. And all of our righteous fathers will enter into life. And if we are righteous and perfect as they were, then we too will enter into life. Mishpaka, the standards have not changed. The standards have not changed. Do you not understand that had Adam and Kua, let me back up, that the standard for Adam and Kua was to what? To be perfect. To obey the voice of Yahuwah without compromise. This was the standard. This was the standard. The standard has never changed. Perfection has never changed. And with one infraction, with one transgression of the Torah by partaking of the fruit, they fell. They fell. But the standard still has not changed. The standard still has not changed. He still, even though they fell, demanded perfection from them. He demanded perfection from them until the perfect time came in which he would come as a perfect offering and take their place and die for them. But the standard of perfection had never changed. It has never changed. Because if we do not walk in perfection, hear him. If we do not walk in perfection, then we make void the blood of Yahusha. Yes, we do. It is written, if we continue in crime after the offering of Yahusha, there then remains no offering for crime for us. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So the standard has been the same since the garden. It has not changed. It has not changed. He is perfect. So we must be perfect. We must be perfect. And if you were born from above, then what? He has made it possible for us to be perfect. Because if the same Ruach that indwelled in the body of Yahusha dwells in us, and he being perfect, then that means that we can walk as he walked, and we can walk as our ancient fathers walked in perfection, which is still the standard. Which is still the standard. If you operate in willful crime, like Adam and Kua partook of the fruit willfully, then you will fall and you will die. And you will die. In the same manner in which he spoke, in the day that you partake of the fruit, it's the day that you will die. It's the day that you will die. If we too walk in willful crime, and continue to partake of the fruit, we're going to die. We're going to die. Barak Yahuwah, read little one.
After the death of Enos, Cain stood at the head of his people in righteousness and innocence, as his father had commanded him. He also continued to minister before the body of Adam inside the cave of treasures. Then when he had lived 910 years, suffering and affliction came upon him. And when he was about to enter into his rest, all the fathers with their wives and children came to him, and he blessed them and adjured them by the blood of Habal the just, saying to them, let no one among you go down from this Kadush mountain, and make no fellowship with the children of Cain the murderer.
Barak Yahuwah, we adjure you by the shed dam of Yahusha, which cries with pleas out louder for us than the blood of righteous Habal. We don't trample on his righteous blood, on his righteous dam. We don't make his offering of ill effect and continue to walk in willful crime, and continue to walk in wretched and wicked pride, continue to walk in uncontrolled lust. We don't make his blood, his dam of ill effect. So we too adjure you by the precious, perfect dam of Yahushua HaMashiach to turn from your crime and walk in perfection, to walk in righteousness and in truth. Barak Yahuwah. Read, little one.
Mahaliel, his firstborn son, received this commandment from his father, who blessed him and died. Then Mahaliel embalmed him with sweet spices and laid him in the cave of treasures with his fathers. And they made offerings for him after the custom of their fathers. That's the end of that.
Barak Yahuwah, chapter 14. Is it chapter 14?
No, that's 15. We're going to 16.
Chapter 16?
Yes.
Chapter 16, Barak Yahuwah. Chapter 16. Go ahead, little one.
Okay. Then Mahaliel stood over his people and fed them in righteousness and innocence.
Here we are again. Then Mahaliel. I told you this is a chain of custody. This is a chain of custody amongst firstborn son. You claim to be a firstborn son? You're going to walk in righteousness and purity, just like our righteous fathers. There is no in between. Either you are walking in righteousness and purity, which is perfection, walking meekly and humbly as a lamb, or you're walking as the children of Cain. There is no in between. So we're seeing this chain of custody that followed Mahaliel and all of the firstborn sons, all of these righteous sons, all the way down through Nuach and Sham and Abba and Abraham and Ishak and Yaakub and Yahusaf and Ephraim, and all the way down to the Hamashiach, who fed the people in righteousness and purity and perfection, who taught the people, who fed the people the words of life and taught them to walk meekly and humbly as a lamb, as all of our righteous fathers did. Because here's what you have to understand, Mishpaka. We are all in a fallen state. We are fallen. Since Adam and Kua partook of the fruit, we are all fallen. We are all still imprisoned. We are prisoners in this wicked flesh. We're prisoners. We have not yet been restored. We have not yet been exalted. We are prisoners. We are slaves. We are slaves. We are in chain to this flesh. Although we have been set free from this flesh, we are still, our ruachs are still held prisoner in this flesh. And so we are still in a fallen state. We are in a lowly state. And in this lowly state, we are what? We are expected to be servants. We are expected to serve. We are expected to lower ourselves, to receive the judgment, to receive the punishment imposed upon us, and operate as meek, lowly, humble servants. He gives us an example of this in the example of Joseph, or Yahusha, who was sold into slavery unjustly. But instead of complaining, he humbled himself. He lowered himself. And he operated as a meek and humble servant. And afterwards, after the prescribed period had passed, and we have a prescribed period, we have an appointed period to pass he was what? He was exalted. Yahusha gives us the same example as we read in Philippians chapter 2. He humbled himself as a servant. He took on the form of a servant and humbled himself as a servant even unto death. And because he humbled himself as a servant, he was exalted. Because of the fall, we are lowered. How dare you operate in your stinking pride and your stinking arrogance? That's not a characteristic of a son of the rain. We understand judgment. We understand obedience. And we understand that as a result of the judgment and as a result of the fall, we have been relegated to becoming lowly servants. Lowly servants. And the only way to be reestablished or restored to the throne or restored to the reign, because Adam was born as a sovereign. Yes, he was. He was born as a ruler. The only way to be restored there is through servitude. It's through humbling ourselves. It's through walking the ancient path, which is what? Which is the servant's path. Which is the meek and humble and quiet and gentle path. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is the only way back. This is the only way back to being restored. Is to walk meek and humble and lowly. To be calm, to be quiet and gentle. Just like all of our righteous fathers. Just like Yahusha himself was. Read, little one.
And watch them to see they held no intercourse with the children of Cain.
Don't mix with the heathen. Don't mix with them. Do not mix with them. If you want to enter the reign, do not mix with them. This is nothing new. This is from the very beginning. Read, little one.
He also continued in the cave of treasures, praying and ministering before the body of our father Adam, asking Elohim for compassion on himself and on his people until he was 870 years old when he fell sick. Then all his children gathered unto him to see him and to ask for his blessing on them all ere he left this world. Then Mahaliel arose and sat on his bed, his tears streaming down his face, and he called his eldest son Jared, who came to him. He then kissed his face and said to him, O Jared, my son, I adjure thee by him who made heaven and earth, to watch over thy people and to feed them in righteousness and in innocence.
Oh, you can't make this up. This is the chain of custody. Not only feed them in righteousness and what? Purity?
Innocence.
And innocence, which is purity. But you yourself be that example in righteousness and purity to them. Be perfect. Be righteous. Obey every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yahuwah, turning neither to the right or to the left from his righteous Torah, which is the ancient path. Which is the ancient path. This ain't nothing new. This is nothing new. This is a chain of custody that has come all the way down to us. And this identifies who the sons of the reign are and who the sons of the wicked one are. Either we are perfect or we are imperfect. Either we are pure, righteous, and perfect, or we are imperfect. There is no in between. Read, little one.
And not to let one of them go down from this Kadush mountain to the children of Cain.
Oh, wherefore come out from among them. Be ye separate. Touch not the unclean thing, and he will receive us. Read.
Lest he perish with them. Hear, O my son, hereafter there shall come a great destruction upon this earth on account of them. Elohim will be angry with the world and will destroy them with waters. But I also know that thy children will not hearken to thee, and that they will go down from this mountain and hold intercourse with the children of Cain, and that they shall perish with them. O my son, teach them and watch over them, that no guilt attach to thee on their account. Mahaliel said moreover to his son Jared, when I die, embalm my body and lay it in the cave of treasures by the body of my fathers. Then stand thou by my body and pray to Elohim, and take care of them, and fulfill thy ministry before them, until thou enterest into rest thyself. Mahaliel then blessed all his children and then lay down on his bed and entered into rest like his fathers. But when Gerard saw that his father Mahaliel was dead, he wept and sorrowed and embraced and kissed his hands and his feet, and so did all his children. And his children embalmed him carefully and laid him by the bodies of his fathers. Then they arose and mourned for him 40 days. And that's the end.
There is nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Yahuwah distressed the earth then with water. The operative word is distressed. He distressed the earth with water the first time. He didn't destroy the earth. See, that's a big misunderstanding, especially within the Christian community. They think when the Hamashiach comes back that the earth is going to be destroyed, most of them. But the earth isn't destroyed until after the millennial reign. After 1,000 years, what is called the millennial reign, at the end of 7,000 years, as we move into the last great day, the 8,000 year. After the great judgment of the great white throne, then the earth and the Shamayim will be destroyed by fervent fire, and there'll be a renewed earth and a renewed Shamayim. But make no mistake, there is nothing new under the sun. Just as the earth was purified before, as the earth was distressed by water and purified, the earth is going to be distressed again. And here, our righteous Father is adjuring his son, Yerad, commonly called Jared, to feed the children in righteousness and purity and truth. Because of the sons of Cain, distress is coming upon this earth. And as we are going to continue reading, we're probably not going to get there today, but as we're going to continue reading, we're going to see the same thing of teaching, of feeding the children and operating yourself in righteousness and truth, so that what? So that you can be delivered from distress. So that you can be delivered from trial. None of the sons of Cain escaped the flood, but the sons of the rain did. The sons of the rain did. This is the common theme. And this is the path that he has you and I on. We are on this very same path. We are in that very same season. We are in the days of Nuach. And he is trying to save us and deliver us from the hour of trial. And he has sent a servant. For those of you who have eyes to see and ears to hear, he has sent a servant to feed you in righteousness and purity, if you would adhere and turn from your wicked ways, so that you may be saved from the hour of trial. Read, little one.
Then Yerad kept his father's commandment and arose like a lion over his people. He fed them in righteousness and innocence and commanded them.
You can't make this up. You cannot make it up. He fed them in what?
Righteousness and innocence.
You can't compromise this. You can't compromise righteousness. You can't compromise innocence, which is purity, which is perfection. This can't be compromised. This indeed is what identifies a son of the rain. This is what identifies us. Not only sons of the rain, but daughters of the rain. This is what identifies us. Operating in righteousness and purity or perfection without compromise. Read, little one.
And commanded them to do nothing without his counsel, for he was afraid concerning them, lest they should go to the children of Cain. Wherefore did he give them orders repeatedly, and continue to do so until the end of the 485th year of his life. At the end of these said years, there came unto him this sign, as Gerard was standing like a lion before the bodies of his fathers, praying and warning his people. Hashatan envied him and wrought a beautiful apparition, because Gerard would not let his children do aught without his counsel. Hashatan then appeared to him with 30 men of his host, in the form of handsome men. Hashatan himself being the elder and tallest amongst them, with a fine beard. They stood at the mouth of the cave and called out Yerad from within it. He came out to them and found them looking like fine men, full of light and of great beauty. He wondered at their beauty and at their looks, and thought within himself whether they might not be of children of Cain. He said also in his heart, as the children of Cain cannot come up to the height of this mountain, and none of them is so handsome as these appear to be. And among these men there is not one of my kindred. They must be strangers. Then Yerard and they exchanged a greeting, and he said to the elder among them, O my father, explain to me the wonder that is in thee, and tell me whose these are with thee, for they look to me like strange men. Then the elder began to weep, and the rest wept with him. And he said, Yerard, I am Adam, who Elohim made first, and this is Habal, my son, who was killed by his brother Cain, into whose heart Hashatan put to murder him. Then this is my son Shaph, who I asked of the master, who gave him to me to comfort me instead of Habal. Then this one is my son Enush, son of Shaph, and that other one is Cain, son of Enush, and that other one is Mahaliel, son of Cain, thy father. But Yerard remained wondering at their appearance and at the speech of the elder to him. Then the elder said to him, Marvel not, O my son, we live in the land north of the garden, which Elohim created before the world. He would not let us live there, but placed us inside the garden below, which ye are now dwelling. But after that I transgressed. He made me come out of it, and I was left to dwell in this cave. Great and sore troubles came upon me. And when my death drew near, I commanded my son Shaph to tend his people well. And this my commandment is to be handed from one to another until the end of the generations to come. But, O Yerard, my son, we live in beautiful regions, while you live here in misery, as this thy father Mahaliel informed me, telling me that a great flood will come and overwhelm the whole earth. Therefore, O my son, fearing your sakes, I rose and took my children with me, and came hither for us to visit thee and thy children. But I found thee standing in this cave weeping, and thy children scattered about this mountain in the heat and in misery. But, O my son, as we missed our way and came as far as this, we found other men below this mountain who inhabit a beautiful country full of trees and of fruits and of all manners of verdure. It is like a garden, so that when we found them, we thought they were you, until thy father Mahaliel told me there was no such thing. Now therefore, O my son, hearken to my counsel, and go down to them, thou and thy children. Ye will rest from all this suffering in which ye are. But if thou wilt not go down to them, then arise, take thy children, and come with us to our garden. Ye shall live in our beautiful land, and ye shall rest from all this trouble which thou and thy children are now bearing. But Yerard, when he heard this discourse from the elder, wondered, and went hither and thither. But
hold up, wait. One thing we notice here is Hashatan had a whole lot to say. And we know through, if you have a relationship with Yahuwah, you know he don't talk that much. He doesn't talk that much. No, he does not talk that much. But Hashatan does. He talks all the time, and he may speak to you in long paragraphs and show himself to be a messenger of light. But Yahuwah doesn't talk that much. He does not speak that much. He may give you a word or two here and 3 or 4 words here. But he does not speak this way. He does not speak this way. And Hashatan has an explicit interest in us. Just like he had an interest in Gerard. And that is to what? Is to draw you from the mountain of perfection. To draw you there down below to his children. Because if you again have been born from above and have tasted of the good things of Shamayim and have seen the things to come and are then drawn below, there is no restoring us to repentance. There is no restoring us to repentance. This is no new game. This game was being played in the very beginning. This is no new game. This is no new game. And so we've got to be sensitive to the Ruach. We've got to be sensitive to the Ruach, and the way to defeat him, as Abba showed us last week, the way to defeat him is through obedience to Torah. Obey the word of Yahuwah without compromise. If we obey the word of Yahuwah and we have the Ruach of Yahuwah in us, having a sensitivity to his voice, then we will not be led astray by him. We will not be led astray by him. We will be alerted of him. We will be alerted of his voice. Abba will alert us of his voice before allowing us to be led astray. Read, little one.
But at that moment he found not one of his children. Then he answered and said to the elder, Why have you hidden yourself until this day? And the elder replied, If thy father had not told us, we should not have known it. Then Yerard believed his words were true, so that the elder said to Yerard, Wherefore didst thou turn about so and so? And he said, I was seeking one of my children to tell him about my going with you, and about their coming down to those about whom thou hast spoken to me. When the elder heard Yerard's intention, he said to him, Let alone that purpose at present, and come with us. Thou shalt see our country. If the land in which we dwell pleases thee, we and thou shalt return hither and take thy family with us. But if our country does not please thee, thou shalt come back to thine own place. And the elder urged Yerad to go before one of his children came to counsel him otherwise. Yerad then came out of the cave and went with them and among them, and they comforted him until they came to the top of the mountain of the sons of Cain. Then said the elder to one of his companions, We have forgotten something by the mouth of the cave, and that is the chosen garment we had brought to clothe Yerad withal. He then said to one of them, Go back, thou, someone, and we will wait for thee here until thou come back. Then will we clothe Yerad, and he shall be like us, good, handsome, and fit to come with us into our country. Then that one went back, but when he was short distance off, the elder called to him and said to him, Tarry thou until I come up and speak to thee. Then he stood still, and the elder went up to him and said to him, One thing we forgot at the cave, it is this, to put out the lamp that burns inside it above the bodies that are therein. Then come back to us quick. Then one went, and the elder came back to his fellows and to Yerad, and they came down from the mountain, and Yerad with them. And they stayed by a fountain of water near the houses of the children of Cain, and waited for their companion until he brought the garment for Yerad. He then, who went back to the cave, put on the lamp, and came to them, and brought a phantom with him, and showed it to him. And when Yerad saw it, he wondered at the beauty and grace thereof, and rejoiced in his heart, believing it was all true. But while they were staying there, 3 of them went into the house of the sons of Cain, and said to them, Bring us today some food by the fountain of water for us and our companions to eat. But when the sons of Cain saw them, they wondered at them, and thought, These are beautiful to look at, and such as we never saw before. So they rose and came with them to the fountain of water to see their companions. They found them so very handsome that they cried aloud about their places for others to gather together and come and look at these beautiful beings. They then gathered around them, both men and women. Then the elder said to them, We are strangers in your land. Bring us some good food and drink, you and your women, to refresh ourselves with. When those men heard these words of the elder, every one of Cain's sons brought his wife, and another brought his daughter. And so many women came to them, every one addressing Yerad either for himself or for his wife, all alike. But when Yerad saw what they did, his very soul wrenched itself from them. Neither would he taste of their food or of their drink. The elder saw hint as he wrenched himself from them, and said to him, Be not sad, I am the great elder. As thou shalt see me do thyself in like manner. Then he spread his hands and took one of the women, and 5 of his companions did the same before Yerad, that he should do as they did.
Hold up. Now, we understand that the very name Jared, or Yerad, it means to descend. His name means to descend. And so we see him descending from the mountain down towards the children of Cain, or down to the children of Cain. That his name, he was named such because in his time, in his days, is when the messengers descended and laid with human women. And we're seeing this play out here. We're seeing this play out with these messengers laying with human women. Now, there is more than one adversary. We have to understand that we have more than one adversary. Hashatan is not his name. Hashatan simply means the adversary. But there is more than one adversary. because there's more than one fallen messenger. And so we see here Yarad, which means to descend, descending from the mountain, and these messengers laying with women. Now what we see here also is that it was the children of Cain, in which these messengers laid with. It was the children of Cain in which these messengers laid with. Because when we operate as children of Cain, then we give them a right to us. We give them a right to possess us, and we give these spirit wives and these spirit husbands, we give them authority to come in and rape men and women and sleep sexually with men and women. We give them a right to, when we operate contrary to Torah. And so it was the children of Cain in whom they laid with, in whom they made themselves out to be beautiful men of handsome countenance, and they laid with these women, and they laid with them. And we see here Jared, who was deceived, and the reason, as we're going to see, that Yahuwah had pity on him was by reason of his purity, was by reason of his pure heart. And so Yahuwah had pity on him. He had pity on him. But when we willfully turn from the mountain, turn from the mount, to seek out that which the children of Cain are doing, to take part in that which they are doing, and that's the danger, to not even mingle with them, to turn away from them, because temptation is no small thing, and we should never think more of ourselves than we are. We should never think more of ourselves than we are. We should never place ourselves in situations thinking that we're strong enough to resist that thing which we are being tempted with. We should never think more of ourselves than we are. But we see here that these messengers, they laid with the children of Cain. And this is reason to thought. This is reason to ponder. To those of you who are on YouTube, who may still be promiscuous, who may still have unrestrained lust, you never know who you're laying with. You never know who you are laying with. In accordance with Genesis 3:15, Hashatan has seed. Yes, he does. He has seed. Yahuwah has seed. He has seed. He has seed according to the Ruach, and Hashatan has seed in accordance with physical characteristics. He has physical seed. He has physical seed, and he has those in whom he is inhabiting their hearts. No different than Yahuwah. Yahuwah has physical seed, the children of Yasha'al. And he has those who are his seed, which is the most important, by reason of his Ruach dwelling in their hearts. And so you never know who you are laying with. You never know who you are laying with. You could be laying with a messenger, or you could be laying with one of their progeny. They have children. They have seed. And so we must be careful. We must be careful to follow the righteous Torah and to not veer from the right, and to not turn to the right or to the left of it. Continue, little one.
But when Gerard saw them working infamy, he wept and said in his mind, my fathers never did the like. He then spread his hands and prayed with a fervent heart and with much weeping, and entreated Elohim to deliver him from their hands. No sooner did Gerard begin to pray than the elder fled with his companions, for they could not abide in a place of prayer.
They could not abide in a place of prayer. You want Hashatan to flee? Praise Abba. Use praise as a weapon, or stand forth and spread your hands and pray to Abba. They cannot stand in the presence of prayer. Read, little one.
Then Gerard turned round.
Pure prayer. Pure prayer. Because he does not hear the prayer of a criminal. He does not hear the prayer of a criminal. If we turn our ear away from hearing the Torah, even our prayer is an abomination to him. He receives pure prayer, and they cannot stand in the presence of pure prayer. Read, little one.
Then Gerard turned round, but could not see them, but found himself standing in the midst of the children of Cain. He then wept and said, O Elohim, destroy me not with this race, concerning which my fathers has warned me. For now, O my master, Elohim, I was thinking that those who appeared unto me were my fathers. But I have found them out to be devils who allured me by this beautiful apparition until I believed them.
Oh, another lesson. Oh, they look like you. They sound like you. They wear all the appropriate Hebrew garments. They wear the zitzits extra long. The females wear their head wraps. They look like you. They sound like you. They are very convincing, but they are devils. They are devils. You will know them by their fruit, and Yahuwah has made it plain and clear for us. Either you're born from above or you're born from below. That's it. That's it. He's made it plain and simple for us. Either you're born from above or you're born from below. That's it. And if you're not looking for that fruit, you're going to be deceived, because they are very convincing and deceiving. Read, little one.
But now I ask thee, O Elohim, to deliver me from this race among whom I am now staying, as thou didst deliver me from those devils. Send thy Malachim to draw me out of the midst of them, for I have not myself power to escape from among them. When Yerard had ended his prayer, Elohim sent his Malachim in the midst of them, who took Yerard and set him upon the mountain and showed him the way, gave him counsel, and then departed from him. And that's the end of that one.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. How are we looking for time?
Let's see. 131.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. I think we're going to do maybe one, maybe two more chapters, and we're going to end this because, as I said, we're going to take our time with this. And I don't want to make these teachings too long, both for the sake of the Mashpaka here, so that you retain the words that Abba is speaking, and for the sake of the YouTube family and not making these videos too long. So go ahead, my little one. You're reading what, chapter 17?
18.
18, Barak Yahuwah.
Right.
So the Forgotten Books of Adam and Kuah, chapter 18, beginning at verse 1, we read.
You ready? Okay. The children of Yerard were in the habit of visiting him hour after hour to receive his blessing and to ask his advice for everything they did. And when he had a work to do, they did it for him. But this time when they went into the cave, they found not Yerard, but they found the lamp put out and the bodies of the fathers thrown about. And voices came from them by the power of Elohim that said, Hashatan in an apparition has deceived our son, wishing to destroy him as he destroyed our son Cain. They said also, Master Elohim of heaven and earth, deliver our son from the hand of Hashatan, who wrought a great and false apparition before him. They also spake of the other matters by the power of Elohim. But when the children of Yerard heard these voices, they feared and stood weeping for their father, for they knew not what had befallen him. And they wept for him that day until the setting of the sun. Then came Yerard with a woeful countenance, wretched in mind and body, and sorrowful after having been separated from the bodies of his father. But as he was drawing near to the cave, his children saw him, and hastened to the cave, and hung upon his neck, crying and saying, O Father, where hast thou been, and why hast thou left us, as thou wast not wont to do? And again, our father, when thou didst appear, the lamp over the bodies of our fathers went out. The bodies were thrown about, and voices came from them. When Yerard heard this, he was sorry, and went into the cave, and there found the bodies thrown about, the lamp put out, and the fathers themselves praying for his deliverance from the hand of Hashatan. Then Yerard fell upon the bodies and embraced them, and said, O my fathers, through your intercession, let Elohim deliver me from the hand of Hashatan. And I beg you will ask Elohim to keep me and to bid me from him until the day of my death. Then all the voices ceased, save the voice of our father Adam, who spoke to Yerad by the power of Elohim, just as one would speak to his fellow, saying, O Yerad, my son, offer gifts to Elohim for having delivered thee from the hand of Hashatan. And when thou bringest those offerings, so be it that thou offerest them on the altar on which I did offer. Then also beware of Hashatan, for he deluded me many times with his apparitions, wishing to destroy me. But Elohim delivered me out of his hand. Command thy people that they be on their guard against him, and never cease.
Command thy people that they be on their guard against him, and never cease.
And never cease to offer up gifts to Elohim. Then the voice of Adam also became silent, and Yerard and his children wondered at this. Then they laid the bodies as they were at first, and Yerard and his children stood praying the whole of that night until break of day. Then Yerard made an offering and offered it up on the altar as Adam had commanded him. And as he went up to the altar, he prayed to Elohim for compassion and for forgiveness of his crime concerning the lamp going out. Then Elohim appeared unto Yerard on the altar and blessed him and his children, and accepted their offering, and commanded Yerard to take of the sacred fire from the altar, and with it to light the lamp that shed light on the body of Adam. And that's the end of that one.
Barak Yahuwah. What's the next chapter?
19.
19. So we'll begin next week at chapter 19, Ms. Parker. But this game is not new for Hashatan. He desires to draw us down from the mountain to the children of Cain, because the great distress in which is soon to come upon the earth, and in which he desires to keep us in prison to. He wants us here when the great distress comes upon the earth, because when the great distress comes, he himself is coming down to this earth, and he is going to indwell in the body of a man. And he is going to dwell in the body of a man because what? The earth was given to mankind. In order for him to have complete autonomy, complete rulership over the earth, then he must dwell in flesh. He must dwell in flesh. And dwelling in flesh, this earth is going to see a time of distress unlike it has ever seen before. Unlike it has ever seen before. Complete mayhem. And some of the righteous are going to perish. Some of the righteous are going to be destroyed. Some of the righteous are going to be deceived by him. Indeed, the scriptures tell us that the whole world are going to bow down and worship this man whom they are going to believe is the Hamashiach. Hashatan desires to draw us down from the mountain, to cause us to fall, so that we will have to endure this time of trial, in which he is going to have complete autonomy over all flesh, because he's going to be dwelling in flesh. He is going to be dwelling in flesh. So unlike ever before, we have got to use discernment. We've got to be sensitive to the root. We've got to observe what Yahuwah is showing us and believe what he is showing us in terms of there are two manner of people. That is it. Either you're righteous or you're unrighteous. There is no in between. There is no in between. And we must walk this ancient path with all that is within us. We must walk this path of perfection. We must walk this path of righteousness and truth and purity. And we must not turn from it to the right or to the left. We must do this with all of our heart, mind, and strength. It is imperative that we do this now, because this is a great time of separation. And Hashatan, unlike ever before, is trying to draw us and trying to cause us to come down from the mountain, either subtly or openly. He's trying to cause us to come down from the mountain to mix with the children of Cain, so that we will have to endure the hour of trial. Because during the hour of trial, there will be no protection. Abba is now protecting us. But during the hour of trial, he's going to remove his ruach from the earth. He's going to remove his living water. In order for darkness to reign, he must remove light. And so he must remove his water. He must turn it off. And without him, without his ruach, there is no protection on the earth. There will be no protection during the hour of trial. Hashatan will have complete autonomy over all flesh while dwelling in flesh. And he wants to draw you and I from the mountain of perfection down to the children of Cain. He's doing it in these various religions. He's doing it in Christianity. Most Christians don't believe that they have to be perfect. They don't believe that they can be perfect. They don't believe that it's possible. He's doing this. He's doing this through deception to keep us in prison, so that we will have to endure the hour of trial, so that he can kill us, so that he can do what he desires to do, and that is to destroy us. So it is imperative that we walk this path of perfection, that we turn neither to the right or to the left of it, and endure, that we guard his word of endurance. And in doing so, ended up at Mount Zion, where we will be given a song that no one else can sing. and being saved from the hour of trial. But it is my prayer as always that this word has not fallen void to the ground, but that it has gone forth and accomplished that which you have purposed it to do. It is my prayer that not one seed, not one word fell by the wayside, that not one seed or word fell on stony ground, that not one seed or word or this word fell amongst thorns, but that this seed fell amongst fertilized and tilled soil, so that later on your Ruach will come by and water that seed, so that it grows up to become a mighty tree, producing the fruit that leads to everlasting life. Let every heart receive, Abba. Let every ear. Let every eye see what thus says Yahuwah in this season to his people. In the name of Yahusha we pray. So be it. To those of you on YouTube, we're grateful that you stopped by once more to spend this Shabbat Yom with us. We pray that you would come by and continue this series of walking the ancient path. And I pray that you are adhering to the words that are being spoken, and that you are aligning yourselves with the message of perfection, which begins with repentance, with teshuvah, that you are aligning yourselves with the message of perfection, understanding that you must be perfect, that those who will stand on Mount Zion are perfect. They are not imperfect. There will be no children of Cain on that mountain. There will only be sons of the rain. So I pray that you would continue to join us, that you continue to adhere to the words that are being spoken through the mouth of his servant. Until the next time, Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor unto you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. So be it. So be it. So be it.